Kingdom Team All Call time has arrived. It's question and answer time. You got questions for us. We have answers for you. KingdomReportLive.com is where you can send them, or you can leave us comments under our YouTube videos, or perhaps on Facebook Live, or at Kingdom Report Live on social media. So many ways to get in touch with us. So many ways to send in your questions. First question up this week comes to us from Kara Adams. She says, "Hey, we know the theme parks at Disney World are coming back. Do you anticipate the Disney World water parks to come back in 2020. So knowing that the theme parks are coming back online in July leaves a lot of people wondering about those water parks, especially in the middle of summer and being sort of the prime time for water parks. It's a great question. Here with us today to answer that, it's our panel, Katrina Manzoni, Tyler Crouch, Garrett Hassel. Let's start with Katrina. What do you think? Water parks coming back?
Not in 2020. I could see probably maybe like next year, because they only have a couple months to open it and they're focused on their whole resort and 4 parks. I think the 2 water parks are like the least of their worries. And then, you know, because Universal has their water park open, but they only have to worry about a little resort, 2 like theme parks, and then their water park. So I could say probably around like maybe March of next year, March, April, when the weather starts getting warmer again. Because by the time they're even maybe possibly able to reopen, they're going to have to close again because of cold weather. So
you think a spring break
probably
return?
spring break return for me. Let's put it on the books.
You know, probably not too wild, especially based on everything that we're seeing and seeing that like Halloween parties are being canceled, and they're looking at those Christmas parties now out at Walt Disney World and potentially pulling the plug on those. Tyler Crouch, what do you think? Water parks in 2020?
My first inclination was yes, they would reopen, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, but then they're going to have different rules at different parks and different, you know, at Disney Springs and things, because let's face it, you can't really be at a water park and wear a mask the entire time. I mean, that almost sounds like you're going to drown yourself, you know, like that just doesn't sound like a good thing to have water in your mask. And so it's going to be... It just makes me think that, yeah, I mean, you guys could be right, or Katrina, you could be right. Maybe we won't be seeing them for a while, because I just can't see them being like, okay, so at Magic Kingdom, mask at all times, you have to worry about this and that, and then over at the water parks, like, okay, well, no mask here, because unless you're out, you know, if you're not in the pool, then a mask. Like, it gets right. Very confusing, and I know that, I know there are other water parks in Orlando that have opened, and they're not requiring, a lot of them are not requiring masks and things like that. So maybe they just don't want to mess around with that sort of thing until a later date.
There's too much stuff going on in that resort right now, even with the whole NBA experience, not NBA experience, but the whole ESPN sports thing going on too. They have like a lot of stuff happening. They're like, I don't know, this is the least of our worries. We just put this on the side.
Yeah, the NBA joining Disney property and sort of saturating all of their resort hotels, and now becoming an official
taking
part
all the manicurists, pedicurists. I mean, gosh.
There's a lot to pay attention to. By God. Garrett Hassler, our Walt Disney World reporter, standing by to share his perspective. What do you think? Water parks in 2020? Is that a reality?
But no, in 2020, I do not think any water parks will reopen, just because when, like right now it's summertime, they're closed. When the parks reopen, they are not listed as the top priority. So they will not be seeing the light of day. Plus, by not having them open, you're saving money because you don't have to pay for lifeguards, food and beverage, all the merchandise and all that stuff. Plus, you're not having to use as much water because, well, no one's going in the water. I see them maybe returning spring or summer 2021, but even if people were hopeful, thinking like, oh, what about like November, December? In November and December, they usually close one of the 2 water parks because they just don't get as much business out of them. So I really do not see them reopening. It's sad, but when people go to Walt Disney World, you think of the parks. You don't think, man, I really want to go to Blizzard Beach, or I really want to go to Typhoon Lagoon. Like they're very nice to go to during the summertime and on hot days. But if Disney is already making everything limited, you want to go to the parks. You don't want to go to a water park. You want roller coasters and Mickey and Minnie and all of them. You don't really want to hang out with, I forget what the alligator's name is, but that guy.
I guess that's another thing too, is like, you know, if they're going to be doing like one park per day and there's no park hopping, usually I feel like water parks are kind of a half a day experience. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just me personally. It seems like I couldn't spend 8 hours at a water park, but I also don't like just kind of laying around the whole time. So maybe I'm wrong, but I can't see them being like, okay, well, you can go to the water park half the day and then at Magic Kingdom the other part. So that's a whole another reason for them not to open those water parks.
Great point. And we have learned that Walt Disney World has effectively canceled through the summer the H2O glow nights that typically happen at Typhoon Lagoon Water Park there on property. Something that I've been a part of in the past. A lot of fun, not a whole lot of people there. Kind of didn't think it was going to happen again, just based purely on no one showing up to the last ones. But
Good for you.
That's why I liked it.
Yeah, that sounds cool, actually. I would like that, yeah.
No one was around. Yeah, it was great. Lots of character interaction, a great DJ atmosphere with DJ Mixmaster Rex
Oh,
Wow.
from Toy Story. Thank you very much.
They gave him 2 titles.
That's right. Yeah, he's
did he
up
have
there.
chains and stuff too?
He did.
Like doesn't he do like something like that in
Like
like
a raver.
cartoon, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep,
I know
that's
what
how
you're
he's
talking
dressed there.
about. Ideal. Okay. Cool. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, no, the whole thing I thought was well worth the money. It was super cheap at the time, and again, I got in at a discounted rate because I had bought early in advance and just thought, why don't I try it? I thought it was totally worth it based on how there were no crowds there. We have learned, however, that cast members from the water parks are being repurposed for other areas within Walt Disney World during this phase reopening process. So.
Epcot.
Yeah, and to be part of the Corona Enforcement Squad. So we'll definitely see what happens when it comes to Disney water parks in the rest of 2020, but it doesn't look hopeful. We appreciate you, Kara, for sending in your question.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.